A Ukrainian teenager who lost his leg during the war is getting medical care right here in San Diego, while the public is being asked to help him during his recovery.
How friends are remembering a former Aztec killed in a rock climbing accident.
And as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we're highlighting our Latino and Latina leaders. Tonight, we're joined in studio by County Supervisor Nora Vargas.
It's the newest roundabout in the city of San Diego at Morley Field Drive and Florida Drive.
I was hoping by sharing my story about melanoma, it might save a life.
And it did.
How you can support the Miles for Melanoma 5K.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now. Tonight, a Ukrainian teenager who lost his leg during the war is getting medical care here in San Diego. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Russia invaded Ukraine nearly 7 months ago, and there's been no end to the civilians killed and wounded every day.
CBS 8's Shannon Handy spent time with the teenager as he got fitted for a prosthetic today. And while she was there, more Ukrainians came in for help.
I met 16-year-old Ivan at one of his appointments here at Peter Harsh Prosthetics in Mira Mesa. It will be months before he can return home to Ukraine, and he's going to need a lot of help during that time. It turns out he's not the only one here under similar circumstances.
Yes, no, nice to meet you.
16-year-old Ivan Shaban is slowly learning English since arriving to San Diego 2 weeks ago. But you don't have to understand his language to sense the trauma he's been through.
Гуманитарных машин.
Via a translator, Ivan says he doesn't want to disclose too many details about the incident that brought him here. Here's what he did share. In March, Ivan and his family were walking to get groceries in the northeastern part of Ukraine when he says a Russian tank left its convoy and intentionally ran over them. His mom was knocked to the ground and suffered a head injury. His stepdad was killed. He wound up losing his right leg. Which brings us to Peter Harsh Prosthetics.
As his leg keeps changing, and we need to change with it.
Thanks to private sponsors, the House of Ukraine and the Right to Walk Foundation, Ivan was sent here to be fitted for a prosthetic leg free of charge. While at his appointment, I met 2 other Ukrainian amputees here for the same reason.
Here?
Natalia and her 11-year-old daughter were injured during a bomb strike at a train station in eastern Ukraine back in April. What's your name?
Yana.
Yana. Nice to meet you, Yana.
Nice to meet you.
It's even more heartbreaking because I have young children. I have an 11-year-old.
Peter Harsh, who runs the clinic, says Natalia and Yana were the first Ukrainians to visit the United States solely for prosthetic care. He was connected to them, as well as Ivan, through the work he's done helping Republic of Georgia soldiers who were injured in Afghanistan and Iraq. But unlike soldiers who are treated with prosthetics in mind, the Ukrainian civilians he's seen have much more complicated cases.
They're getting blown up. But then they're not thinking about prosthetic care. They're thinking about saving their lives. So what we're seeing with blast wounds in Ukraine is that they have very sharp bones. Other bones are longer than the others. It's like razor blades inside their limbs.
Harsh says it takes time to not only get a properly fitting prosthetic, but learn to walk on it. He estimates Ivan and his guardian will be here for at least 4 months. They have temporary housing, but are in need of something more permanent. They also need people who can help drive them to and from daily appointments. And if possible, Ivan would like an English tutor, saying he wants to learn our language before going back to Ukraine, where his mom and siblings are, and where he hopes at some point a normal life awaits. To help Ivan or provide assistance to others who may need it, contact the House of Ukraine. We have that information up on our website, cbs8.com. Just click on this story.
Thanks for that story, Shannon. Meantime, tonight, Russia is struggling to hang on to 4 illegally annexed regions in Ukraine. Russia's defense minister is also calling on 200,000 military reservists to join the war effort. Amid the ongoing hostilities, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has ruled out talks with Russia. The U.S. announced it will provide an additional $625 million in military aid to Ukraine. That includes an advanced rocket system and armored vehicles.
Right now, emergency crews are on the scene of a plane crash in Hamul. The small plane went down just before 2 o'clock this afternoon near Lions Peak Road and Lions Valley Road. The area is remote. It is only accessible by helicopter. Investigators say first responders have found a debris field and human remains. They say crews are still searching for survivors, but we've been told it is not likely that anyone survived the crash. We will update you as we learn more.
The principal of Carmel Valley Middle School is apologizing to the community tonight after a portrait of Adolf Hitler was posted on the wall of a 7th grade classroom.
A 12-year-old student who was Jewish saw it and told his father. As CBS 8's David Gottfredson reports, the teacher who posted the portrait will now receive additional education from the Anti-Defamation League.
We're sitting at a dinner table and he just says to me, "Dad, my teacher has a picture of Hitler on the wall."
At first, Dr. Roy David didn't believe what his 12-year-old son was telling him about his history class at Carmel Valley Middle School. So he asked his son to send him a photo.
And there's Adolf Hitler, a big portrait-sized picture of Hitler. And right next to Hitler is Gandhi and Martin Luther King and JFK. And each one of these people has some kind of inspirational quote written underneath them.
Dr. David emailed the teacher asking for an explanation and requesting that the photo be taken down. But he says he received no response.
My son went back to her the next day and basically asked her why she had this picture of Hitler on the wall. And he actually told her, you know, "You're trivializing the Holocaust." She tells my son, "Well, Hitler may have done some bad things, but he had leadership qualities."
The boy told his father the Hitler portrait had been on the wall since the beginning of the school year. And according to Dr. David, it was not part of a history lesson on World War II.
My grandparents' entire families were murdered in the Holocaust. You know, they were from Poland originally, and my grandmother was a sole survivor from her town. Every other man, woman, child was rounded up and executed.
The portrait of Hitler has since been removed after an uproar on social media. On Monday night, the school principal sent an email to parents saying teachers never intend to hurt or offend anybody, but, quote, "We have recently experienced one of those times that had a hurtful impact, particularly to our Jewish community and to others, and for this, we are sorry." The Anti-Defamation League also responded saying, quote, "ADL education staff will meet with the teacher for future discussion and education to avoid similar situations from happening again." Now, since that photograph was posted on social media, it's caused quite a bit of uproar. People are expected to show up and sound off next week at the San Dieguito School District board meeting. David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
We did reach out to San Dieguito Unified for further comment on the situation. They did not respond to our request.
San Diego police are telling people living on the streets to take down their tents during the day. The policy isn't new. It's based on the city's municipal code for encroachment that states it is unlawful to block public streets, alleys, sidewalks, or other public property. Police didn't enforce it during the pandemic, but Mayor Todd Gloria says he is now reinstating it. However, people will be allowed to put their tents up at night since there aren't enough shelter beds.
Tonight, an SDSU teammate of Gavin Escobar is trying to help the former Aztec and NFL player's family in their time of need. Last week, the Riverside County Sheriffs reported Escobar and his friend had been killed rock climbing near Idlewild. CBS 8's Abby Alford has more on the support for Escobar's wife and 2 young children.
10 years ago, Gavin Escobar played tight end for San Diego State. His teammates say he was more than just a great player, which is why they remained friends off the field.
Jake Bernards is still trying to process the loss of his former teammate, 31-year-old Gavin Escobar, who was killed while rock climbing with a friend last week near Idlewild.
Shocking. It took my breath away. I had no words. It almost seemed surreal, like it didn't even happen.
Bernards played football at San Diego State with Escobar, who was the Aztecs' tight end from 2009 to 2012. He was more than just a teammate. Bernards shared pictures from when they were college roommates and remained friends.
And Gavin was such a genuine person, and we were close friends that we could go years without talking to each other and pick up right where we left off.
The grief has been felt beyond SDSU. The Cowboys tweeted their condolences. Dallas drafted Escobar in 2013, where he played for 4 seasons. In 2019, he ended his football career with the San Diego Fleet, an Alliance of American football team. In February, the father joined the Long Beach Fire Department. Bernards says Escobar was a fighter on and off the gridiron. While in college, he beat testicular cancer. He often expressed himself through painting and a piano.
You just had so many avenues and outlets to show and express himself to his friends and family. So I think that multidimensionality is really what sticks with me.
Bernard's created a GoFundMe to honor Escobar and help his wife Sarah and their 2 daughters. Escobar will miss his daughter's 7th birthday next week. His youngest daughter, Charlotte, is only 4.
He was the most involved dad that I've been around, and would go skateboarding with them.
Escobar's friend, experienced rock climber and documentarian Chelsea Walsh, also died in the rock climbing accident. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department is still working to determine the cause. Bernard says Escobar was an avid rock climber too.
Gavin Escobar from San Diego State.
While they may be gone, Escobar's friends are not forgetting the impact he made after his football career.
That's why I hope that this fund can help at least provide a legacy for him, whether it turns into a college fund or just help Sarah transition through this grieving process.
A memorial service for Gavin Escobar is still being planned. In the meantime, if you would like to help his family, go to CBS8.com and click on the help button.